Okay. Beautiful. And we're going to start. I'm just going to share a couple of slides with you so I can tell you what's coming up. And we are welcoming. Can you all see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, beautiful.
Can do.
Beautiful. Okay, let's see if we can move it. Sometimes it takes a moment to catch up. Why are we not moving here? Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the chat, if you would like to share your location and your desired job title, for those of you who are still searching, please put that in the chat now. We're today going to spend some time with lessons learned from our wonderful alumni. Thank you so much to our alumni for joining us today and taking time out of your busy schedules. There will certainly be time for questions and answers because that's what this is all about. It's all about learning. And if we have time, we're going to also share some success stories of the people who are still in the job search because we'd love to hear what's working well for you. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm hoping that you're going to get a couple of nuggets of information. So if you find a nugget of information, just post #nugget in the chat and tell us one nugget you learned today from anyone. It doesn't have to be from our alumni, it could be from anyone. And I'll be happy to send you a LinkedIn strategy action plan. Just put it right into the, right into the chat. So it's #nugget whenever you hear a nugget that you'd like to hear. Calendar events, August 3rd. We typically meet on the first Wednesday of every month. We typically meet at noon, but for the summer schedules, we made it an hour earlier at 11. So thank you all for adjusting your time schedules to us. August 3rd, we're going to have some more alumni join us. Lessons learned number 2. And then we're going to kick off the fall with the brilliant Brenda Miller, who's going to give us some tips to shine on LinkedIn. That's September 7th. So, hopefully lots of you are working by September 7th, but if not, please join us on September 7th, and that will be at noon. And I'll be sending out reminders to everyone. Action items, things for you to do. We are always looking for more speakers to speak to us about topics that you'd like to have. And if you hear someone who's really great, I just recently heard Sue Griffey talking with Christopher Johnson. It was a really great topic. If you hear speakers that you'd like to nominate, please just let me know and I'm happy to speak to them. If you are not yet a member of the Accelerator group, please join us. That is a LinkedIn group. It's a free group to join. And we host lots of events and also a lot of jobs are posted in there. So definitely take advantage of that. The only way to join the Accelerator group is it's a private group. So just shoot me an email or DM me. This is my, if we're not already connected, shoot me a DM and I will be happy to invite you to that Accelerator group. And as I said, there are a lot of jobs in the Accelerator group that people post daily. If you see a job that looks great and it's not right for you, just go ahead and post it in the Accelerator group. Once you're a member of the group, we appreciate all the job postings we can get because you never know when the right one will fit you or someone else that you want to encourage. And we're going to ask you to register for our next event for August 3rd. I'm going to ask Elsie to put that into the chat so you have that link in there whenever you're ready to grab it. And if anyone doesn't remember how to capture the chat, there's going to be some 3 dots in the chat window. And so before you get off, please just click on that so that it is saved to your desktop. Technology, we are reliant on Zoom technology to make this happen. If for some reason we get bumped off, just give it a few minutes and try and come back in with the same link. There was like a Zoom outage about a week and a half ago, and that kind of affected everyone around the world. So do not fear. If we get bumped, we will try and reconnect. Okay. So this is my mantra. I like to learn something new every single day. I never stop learning, and I love to share what I learn. So if that is also something you would like to do, we welcome learning always. And I'm gonna stop the share now and see if there are any questions before we begin. Okay. Okay, beautiful. I see lots of people in the chat. Good job. Okay, so we are fortunate today to have 3 of our alumni. That's Christine Grogan, Modi, and Darren Bowden. Oh, almost rhymes. It's never been more important than today for job seekers to feel that they're part of a community. One of the things that I missed when I left my corporate job, I was head of human resources for a long time for a bank. I miss the people, my team. I had a great team that I counted on all the time to bounce things off of. And when I left, it became a little lonely. And so this community of job seekers is here for you. We are now your new community. The Accelerator group was formed by a group of visionaries back in 2020 when a whole group of people who were in medical devices, pharmacy, healthcare, all were looking for work. And Christine and Modi and Darren were part of the first group that came through. And since that time, we've welcomed hundreds of professionals to our community. Some have attended our Zoom calls. Others regularly visit our LinkedIn group page. I don't know if you guys know, but we're at over 370 members now. And I think last week we had 175 that were active members. That's really good. So again, thank you to our alumni for having the vision to start this and enabling us to continue the efforts. We are now worldwide. We have someone on the call from Canada, and there may be some others, but we certainly hit almost every industry completely. And so if you want to put into the chat where you are and what you would like, what kind of job you'd like to have, please put it in, because you never know who's going to know someone who can help you. Okay, so I'm going to start. I would like to be able to highlight. Let me see if I can do that. What's that highlighting thing? Oh, I know. Okay, cool. So Christine, I'm highlighting you for a moment. If you can take yourself off mute, which I think you probably are. Yes?
Yep.
So can you tell everyone what prompted you to start the Accelerator group and you know, how it came to be? You know the history more than I do.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Hi everyone, I'm Christine. I've written a bunch of notes in LinkedIn, and I would just suggest people link into me. And I've lived many places. I literally just moved, and I can show you my pile of mess. I just moved a couple days ago to St. Louis, so I look a little homely, but I've been moving my family here for a job. I was laid off with a company called KCI in San Antonio, December 2019, right at the beginning of the pandemic. And around March of 2020, there was some sort of new, I think it was a Wall Street Journal or New York Times article on LinkedIn. And it was about not giving up in COVID. And I said, yeah, I was laid off. I have a 2-year non-compete, which a 2-year non-compete in a pandemic was very difficult. I was the breadwinner of the household. And so I got back so many responses. And one happened to be Mindy, I think Modi at that time, Darren, and some people on this call already knew me from KCI, like Al Hickey. So I said, my gosh, people needed a forum to talk to one another. So I think, Mindy, you were on the very first one, and there were tons of people on the first one, and a lot of people were just looking to get business from one another. And Mindy and I connected, and I consider her a friend now. We've kind of, with Modi and Darren and others on the call, Ann Heike was another one on one of the calls, Beth Bentley. I feel like we're missing one person, but and Kelly Mondesire has been there since the beginning. But we've just churned people over and over. I wish we had counted all the people we've helped get jobs, Mindy. We never did that. but we called ourselves Accelerator 19, as in COVID-19, and Modi's always been there. And I'll just say one last thing, because I don't want to talk too much, but you can't give up. And Modi always said that. Modi was so positive. And if anyone's had a tough time, I could write a book about all the jobs I didn't get. And Mindy would call me. I'd say, well, they told me I was overqualified. They told me I cared too much about the patients. They didn't like that my daughter came into the camera while I was interviewing during COVID, for God's sakes. I mean, I should have written a book about all the denials I had. And it was about 2.5 years, maybe even closer to 3. And I finally just got a job offer. April 25th, I started running a wound care company, which is, the place I came from before med device. But I've done pharma too. So if I can help anybody on here, I will do my best to do so. Thanks, Mindy. And thanks, Mindy. You've really taken this over and brought it to the next level that I definitely couldn't have done. So thank you for taking this on.
Well, Christine, I think that without your vision and others, we certainly wouldn't be here today. So I thank you for everything you've done and everything you will continue to do. I'm really curious, because we talk a lot about motivation and how do we stay motivated. So I'm going to turn the spotlight over to Darren, if you're okay with that, Darren. Yes. Hold on. I'm going to take you off mute and try and spotlight you. Okay, Darren, you're up.
Hey, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well today. One of the things I just put in the chat was for anybody who's still kind of newer here on accelerators, the overall goal, says it right there, is to get you fired from the accelerators. Wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. We've been let go, fired, rift, whatever it is. You use the terminology. The bottom line is you're no longer at an organization and you're trying to find a new organization. So the goal for the accelerators is to get you fired. So technically, let's get you hired somewhere, support you. And then, but from the accelerators group, you don't necessarily, and I'll actually take that back a little bit. So it's not technically getting fired, because hence there's a lot of us that come back and supporting other members. So you haven't technically been fired, but that's been our mantra with it. One of the things, like Christine was talking about, is I was also at KCI in a different part of the organization, and my position disappeared, if you will, as a result of a acquisition. And it happened in my position a little bit before Christine's. But just to make a long story short, and yes, the whole pandemic timing didn't help out and everything. One, from myself and having the accelerators colleagues and team members, is having that support network of never giving up. So that was the first thing. To, like Christine's point, similar situation where had opportunities to interview. It looked like I might have been the final candidate and I'm going to get that offer. And at the end of the day, it went to somebody else. So it went to someone else for a reason. I can't explain it, but all I can do is, okay, let's move on and look for that next opportunity. One important thing also that I really appreciated with the accelerators is that, I'm going to say it, it's not a bitch session. It's not a session to come in and say, my company that I worked for was bad, they let me go, or this or that. That has no place in here. And the reason for that is a moot point. It's happened. It's done. You can't change that. But what you can change is how we engage with each other, looking for opportunities. And working with Mindy and others, particularly for how do I sharpen up my resume? How do I make my CV look a little bit more attractive? I haven't interviewed in a long time, so maybe I need some help with some interviewing skills. Hit me with the hard questions. Don't throw softballs, throw the hard questions, and let's go through that. So that was really good with the accelerators and working through that. Now, my story of working with the accelerators early on also included several different third-party companies you could work with for doing contracting or consulting type work. One of the companies, Business Talent Group, BTG, is somebody who I registered with. I got my CV And I actually went through the process and I got hired through BTG to work with a client. And that client is Abbott. I got hired with them in March, the end of March last year. And I'm actually still working with Abbott. And the nice thing is with my agreement or contract with them is, as we have continuous needs, my contract keeps getting extended. Now, leveraging BTG and leveraging my experience with Abbott and, the hard work, I just signed a new agreement with them with a different part of Abbott. So now I'm continuing on with the Abbott journey, if you will, and I'm enjoying it. So what does that mean also with this business talent group? I am an independent consultant. I formed my own LLC. So I run myself as a business and I can do it remote. And BTG is a third party that kind of does they go out and source contracts, they source projects, and then they help to try and partner up and match potential consultants to come in and work with the clients. And it's really good working with them because they take also a lot of administrative stuff off my plate, so I don't have to deal with that. And now all I need to do is sit here and I get to work remote, like I already said, from home here in Pittsburgh and engage with my client. But it also includes travel. And I've been to, the headquarters in Chicago, and I've done some other traveling with them, which is pretty good. So that's my long, short story working with BTG. And, it's been a good experience.
Hey, Darren, can you put the link to BTG so people, if they want to contact them, they can? You can put a website or something in there?
Yes, I can. And one additional note. So BTG was an independent company up until I think 6 to 8 months ago, give or take. And they were just recently acquired. And now they're part of one of the largest, it's either the number 2 or number 3 world's largest talent recruiting agency or recruiting company, Heidrick and Struggles. So they've gone to look for that integration so they can expand their business and look for talent where maybe they'll have, even at the next level, clients that have high level needs where they want to hire somebody.
The second one.
They've got that partnership. So that works out.
Okay.
Beautiful. Darren, thank you so much. And you'll put the link to them in your,
5 days.
you'll put the link into the chat? Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Modi, you ready?
Yes, always, Mindy.
You're always ready, Modi, I know. I'll never forget. I'm going to add a spotlight to Modi. And there's someone who's not muted. Could you mute yourself if you're not Modi talking? If you can mute yourself, that would be great.
Osi, mute yourself. Osi, mute yourself. Mindy, you can actually mute the person. Mindy, you can mute the person.
Oh, let me go back to the other view. Hold on.
Yeah.
I go back.
He's muted.
Okay, great. Okay, we're gonna go to Modi now. Okay, so Modi, maybe tell us a little bit about your journey as well, and then would love to know what you did to keep yourself motivated during that time frame when you were looking at so many. I remember so many different opportunities that you were looking at, and it gets frustrating, obviously, after a time when you're such a good fit for these different opportunities, and they keep looking at somebody else. So tell us a little bit about your journey and how you stayed motivated.
Thank you. No, thanks everybody. Good to see friendly faces and new faces. Is awesome. Anyway, you guys can link up with me. You find me at Modestus. Modi is just my short name, but I'm the only person that go by one name like Madonna, so Modi. So anyway, so I've been in the biotech pharma for so many years. The last 15 was instead of injectables. I moved from Canada to Chicago. So I worked for companies like Hospira, Pfizer, and then left Pfizer, joined Baxter. So great opportunity. I was global VP for pharmaceuticals for the company. but I quit my job, basically get them to fire me so that I get a package because I didn't like the situation I found myself into. So it was one of those things that's the first time I've ever get myself out of a job without having a place to go to. But it was the right thing to do because I wasn't happy in the role that I was playing after the president that hired me left and they brought a new person. So I decided I wasn't going to be there, just be miserable because life is too short. So after I left, just like what Darren is doing, I started an LLC, a consulting firm. And because a buddy of mine became the CEO of a small company and I was basically 1099, it was an arrangement. I didn't want to be full-time because I didn't want to move. I still wanted to have the freedom to do other things. But one of the things that I did, which we still have to do, Christine, is that I started with a company to start a brand new pharma company. So we were raising money to really start a very big company. And COVID hit. Pandemic hit. So COVID-19 became the end thing. And then suddenly all the fundraising and all this came to a halt. So I continued consulting, and then it was at a point, a competing company got $800 million from the US government, which I was looking to get. So I decided to join them. That's another thing. But before that, I wanted to think about, I really want to go and work in biotech. So I have a doctorate in organ transplant immunology. I have an MBA. So I said, I need to work in biotech. But that's where the craziness started, because everybody that wants you, but when the push comes to shove, they say, no, you haven't really been in biotech for the last 15 years. So you went to big pharma. So we really need somebody who is in biotech. I remember being interviewed by a company. They really loved me, except that the hiring manager said, no, you could do my job. You know, you are just too, there's no way you're going to be happy doing this job. So I said, no, speak for yourself. I know me, right? I'll be happy doing the job I want to do because I want to get into biotech. So, but it was going back and forth. And one of the things, if you guys see how I'm sitting, one thing when we started this accelerator, Christine called me and it was a good idea to just help people get job and form a community, was that you get lessons from different people. Even when you're working already, still good to belong to this because you come and get some tips. The way I'm sitting was about, she's not joining because she's in Geneva, so Mindy Stern, so, so this, one of our members used to work in television. Mm-hmm. So, and everything she did was spotlighting and how to sit in front of the television, this time Zoom. And this is it, you give yourself and then you turn your head. So it wasn't comfortable at the time, but then once I mastered that, I was like a star. And that's what, this kind of thing is what keeps me motivated. If you guys haven't noticed, I'm a very, very happy person. Like, it doesn't really matter what somebody throws at me. I am always going, because it's a matter of time. You are qualified, otherwise you wouldn't be where you are today. You are qualified and you're an expert in what you do, and nobody can take that away. So I'm very, very self-confident in that way. But it was always one of the tricks that we had was, how you apply for a job. So I'm in Chicago and I really wanted to go to Boston or San Francisco. And the first thing they say, you were looking for people that are local, or everybody. What I tell everybody, oh no, I have an apartment, I live there. So it's like, no, I live everywhere in the US or in the world. It doesn't matter what you want, because what will it take? It takes a few weeks, I will have an apartment if you give me a job that I really want. But also it's important not to settle. I wasn't willing to settle job for anything. I was very, very focused on what I really wanted to do and the kind of job I want to do, because I had so many different experiences. And the only thing I really said I was going to do was strategy and business development. So anybody that comes with something else and is not really a very high class company, I would just say no to them in that particular situation so that I don't waste people's time. So it was that kind of thing that was always going on. Look, we don't come to the meeting. We always want to learn or give advice to people. So if you really have a hard time, I'll call Christine, I'll call Mindy in the evening. So we just talk, right? To be able to just see what am I not doing right, or what somebody asked me this crazy question and I just told them, no, that's an inappropriate question. I said, I don't care. You're interviewing me for a job. There are certain things you can't ask me, right? So, but you talk to each other that way just to be able to have the network. But I think this is, we also, somebody, Christine forgot this. Somebody we brought in at the earlier on saw what we're doing and literally took this idea and started charging people money. So it was like, I said, no, we are not charging people money. We are literally going to, and Christine was adamant, no, this is really to help network with people, not to come here to try to get business or charge people money. So we bring in experts to be able to just talk to people. And really excited that many people gathered together. The key thing here is find what you're good at. I know it is hard. Focus on that because it's going to come. Because at the end of the day, you want to do the job. I always tell people, I do what I can sleep doing what I do. It's very exciting for me. It's also challenging, but that's what I love to do. And that's what I literally job focused and was able to do that. So
I'll say to Modi, like he was Mr. Positive for so many people, including myself, and the way he dresses and comes to this, and he always sits the right way. Who's not on today? Kelly, he mentioned. Next time she'll probably be on, and she's been very helpful with people's backgrounds and the halo light behind you and things that a lot of us didn't know. And I do not look that person today because I'm in the middle of moving, as I said, but normally, we try to show up like we're interviewing, and it kind of helps you get your mindset in the right mindset, because Modi probably has shorts on, but you can't tell that by his suit, right, Modi?
No, I'm in the office. I'm in Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so one other thing is, as you look at this, I think Wendy helped us do that, to be able to have your personal statement, right? So what is it that who are you? Because somebody will be able to ask a question, tell me about yourself, right? So it is a common interview question. You have to be almost like prepared to have something and always know who you are, what you want to be, right? So at the end of the day, if you just, because you are out of job now and you have been for a few months and you suddenly panic and take the wrong job, you are going to quit and go back again to where you are. So I think it's going to be important to ensure that you really do your personal assessment and say, this is what I want to do. So the current job I'm doing is Flow Corporation. It got money from the US government to reshore manufacturing of essential medicines here. When they got the money, I was contacted, and it was basically, there was no job description. It was through the network of people that you know. Don't be shy in terms of reaching out to everybody you know. Tell them what you are looking for. And I said no to a few jobs. Many companies said no many times to me because I was stubborn in that way to say, this is what I really want to do. But it is not easy because, look, if you are a single single person in making income in a family, you can stress out very, very quickly to be able to just take any job. But you have to be able to say, okay, you are consulting, that is saying, and I'm always busy. Busy doing work, but I'm busy also talking to people, networking. It doesn't have to be applying for a job. It is really networking before the job comes in. This job I'm doing for almost 2 years now, there was no posting. It was through a network. Somebody called me and I was firm in what I wanted to do. They wanted me to do something else different from this. I said, no, this is exactly what I want to do because that's my experience. So I think it's important to be able to do that. And how do I remain positive? Positiveness, you are the only person that can control how you feel. There's a saying that, you know, my mom taught me, and I now teach my kids. There's no need crying over spilled milk. It's gone, right? So you can't really just do that. There's a different way they say it in the local language I grew up, but it is the same thing. You have to be positive and okay, let me make a plan. This is what I want to do, and have almost like a project to be able to do that. And look, you know, I'll post my LinkedIn for everybody. If you are really feeling down, call me. Call me. Just have somebody that you can relate to call and talk to that person. And I don't know how many times Christina and I we spoke many evenings, and then I think Christina, after a while, your husband knows me. You know, the kids know me, so they
You've
know
taken
both.
yoga classes with me on Zoom during
Exactly.
COVID.
So that's the hardest thing I've done, was to take yoga classes on Zoom. It was very tough. So, but anyway, so Monday, that is it. So I will take questions that people come, but I'll post my LinkedIn link on the chat.
Modi, thank you so much. Your positive energy really comes right through the screen. And I will also tell you that this love fest between Modi, Christine, Darren, and myself, it all happened during COVID. We never, I never reached out to hug any one of them, but we feel so close to each other because we were on the calls every single week and helping each other.
You never met each other
single week.
either. Mindy, Modi, and I have never met. I know Darren, but a lot of us have never, like Kelly I've met, but a lot of us have never even had a coffee with each other.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the ability to network, and I want to pick up on something that Modi said, networking, you cannot underestimate how important networking is. The statistics, I'll give you the statistics. Over 85% of jobs are found from people you know, not from job boards. And so what Modi said is 100% true. You cannot be shy, and you must reach out to anyone that you can think of who might be able to help you. And so if that comes from this group, that's amazing. And if just giving you the motivation to start reaching out to people who you might know, it's equally amazing. That's how we get jobs. It's through people you know, 99%. So I'm going to open up the floor for questions, because I know you want to ask questions of these three amazing people, or you can ask questions of me or whoever you'd like to. But I'm going to open up the floor. And if you'd like to ask a question, I believe we have a raised hand thing here. Yeah, on the very bottom under reactions, there's a raise hand. You'll see it right under the thumbs up and the clapping hands. There's a raise hand. If you could raise your hand, and that way I can call on you, and you can feel free to ask our people things.
Yeah, he did. He got in. I don't know what time it's late.
Who would like to start us off?
Don't be shy. I think that was one of the nuggets.
Okay,
Somewhere.
April.
Brad
April
says, don't be shy.
April has raised her hand. Why can't I see April anymore?
Hello, everybody. Thank you.
There
Hi. Thank you to the three of you for sharing your story. We certainly are all on a journey, or you've been on the journey that many of us are on. My question to you is, I'm currently making a career shift, a career pivot. And so for either one of you who've made a career pivot and trying to figure out what that next role is going to be, how did you land into that next role? I have a clear idea of where I want to go, but I'll be honest, I haven't had one single interview in 6 months.
Can I ask where you're trying to go?
Yeah, I was in higher education. I was an executive director for a housing organization, have done housing, higher education for 25 years. And so I have a lot of experience in managing organizations, leading teams, HR background, project management, facilities. I have this breadth of experience. And so I've landed with organizational development or learning and development. And so I don't know, and Mindy has been very helpful in getting my resume straight. I've networked and still nothing.
Yeah, so April, so I think the key thing, if you can connect with me and send me your resume. So what you try to do, this is one strategy that I've always tried, and I've tried to do that in my career, is that there's a saying, I use lots of saying, that proverb growing up in Nigeria. Squirrels, they eat palm nuts that are ripe, but they have a long tail. They put it on the unripe one, so waiting for it to ripen so that they will eat it. So that's what we do in a job search. The best way that you think about it is that you look at companies that have both what you've done and what you want to do, and try to get in with the skill set that people, the box that people put you in, because that is where people know you. And then once you get into that, you can pivot within the company to be able to go to what you really want to do. Because that is the one way. The reason I say that is that when I was in biotech many months ago, I started as a scientist. I was a scientist for 1 year, and I said, look, I really want to manage science. I went to business school, but then it was still within the same company. I changed jobs 3 times within the company to get to where I say the success looked like. But because what I found out then, and I still found out now that I can hire people, is that companies do not want to be able to hire somebody that they will handhold. However, when you're already inside, they will give you heaven and earth. You'll be thinking, why are you giving me this? I don't have an experience. But they trust you because you are now an employee. So I think that might be a strategy that we'll be able to use. But I know you might be going, you haven't had an interview. Look, it's coming. It's coming. There's actually lots of work out there. So I think what you do, let us connect. And then, since you are in the HR space, I'll put you with our HR head and other network that of senior executive HR in different companies that I worked in, so that you just connect. There's no job, but just connect with them, because they will put you in touch of where people are trying to hire somebody with your skill set.
Thank you.
I love that strategy, Modi, of finding companies that have both of what you have done and what you'd like to do, so you have room to grow in that company. I just love that strategy. Beautiful, beautiful. Any follow-up questions, April, on that?
No, I think that, of course, it's all emotional. So sorry for the tears.
Of course. Listen, it's April. There's no need to be sorry for tears, because this is our lives. This is what we do every day. It's very personal to every single one of us. So we all feel your pain. We've all been where you are, every single one of us. So no one.
My husband has I'm not as good as Modi at sayings, April, but my husband said something through the last 3 years. I don't know how many rejections. Mindy, we should have counted my rejections as well. So
that would have been an interesting
number. And so those calls, you're like, I'm gonna get it. Damn, I didn't get it.
The saying is that it's always darkest before dawn, and I like that saying.
Yeah. So April, just to tell you where it hit me, the situation that we're all in is that I was called by one of my my colleagues. So we were in the same group. I was actually more senior than this person until they promoted him and we became together. So I built a launch system, global launch system for Pfizer. I left, then they called me when I left Baxter, and it was to be the launch leader for the US. So remember, I was for the global, now I want to be the US. Everything was all going well until one lady that I really liked, and this lady said, oh no, Modi, why are you taking this? This is, US is just a small portion of the world that you are leading. Why you? I said, I haven't led the US. I just want to work in the US. because Pfizer is this consensus during the interview, I didn't get that job, but it hit on me that, geez, even for something I was so qualified that I know that I built the system, somebody said no for a reason. So I said, okay, I really need to double what I'm doing to be able to know how to think through, do that, because you just have to be able to know that it's not personal sometimes, right? So I always take it's business, it's their loss. Anytime somebody says no, the only thing I told, and Christine heard me this, it is their loss.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes, I agree with that.
Absolutely. Okay, we have, I have one question that came in that would like to remain anonymous. And then I think I saw Nina raised her hand. So I want to get to at least those two questions. Sue, did you have a raised hand? I wasn't sure. I was up for a moment and then it went away. So I'm not sure if Sue also wants to talk.
No, I just put a heart there for
Oh, okay.
everything everybody's going through.
Oh, so sweet. All right. So here's the anonymous question. The person does not want to be, doesn't want to know who, doesn't want anyone to know who asked it. So the question is, I will paraphrase because I don't remember exactly. The person feels that her age, which is over 50, is getting in her way, and she feels that the, how does she prevent that from happening? How do you go about getting a job when you are over 50 and don't allow that to stop you from moving forward? So I'll throw that out to.
Well, I'm 53, and I do think ageism is real. And interesting, the company that hired me, they're a German company, and they don't know our HR rules. So Mindy, you might want to close your ears. When I was being onboarded, they're like, you have a 7-year-old. How can you have a 7-year-old? Because we figured out you have to be over 50 from your resume, and I still got the job. And I was like, well, I'm 50. And they asked me my age actually on the onboarding.
Wow.
And I said, I'm 53. So I don't know that you can prevent it. I think the best you can do is just, try to take care of yourself, show up, as nicely. And then even if you try to hide it on your resume or LinkedIn, I mean, Mindy, you might want to say something about that piece, because we've talked about ageism before, and it is real.
It is.
It is 100% real. And the one thing advice I'll give you all is you do not need to put your dates of graduation on your LinkedIn profile. You do not need to put your dates of graduation on your resume. It is not necessary. And most people are not expecting it anymore. Certainly in the US, the German companies maybe are not up to speed, but certainly in the US, they're not expecting it because they know that's a big, big, gigantic red flag. So if you do nothing else today, and if you have no other nuggets, if you have dates on your LinkedIn profile, it's time to take them off. It's unnecessary. Okay. I saw Jude. Oh, I just want to get to Nina and then I'll get to Jude because I want to get an order and we're running late on time. Nina, did you have a question?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say that, on the interviews I've been in, I feel like I'm my worst enemy because they'll ask the question, tell me about yourself. And I do that clear, concise, I give a good, give a good summary. And then we begin to talk and have the conversation and the questions. And I just have the deer in the headlight look. I don't know why. I know the answers. I can express myself professionally. I don't know if it's this Zoom or Teams environment, but I'm like, and I'm saying to myself, what's wrong with you? Why can't you articulate? Why are you freezing up? It's like I have this mental block. I don't know what it is, and I can't get past it. And I can feel it every time. It's like, what's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? I don't know what it is, and I don't know how to get past it.
Okay, so Nina, I'm going to just chime in for a moment and then I'll open the floor. We need to exercise your interview muscles, all right? So no one is born knowing how, thank you, Caitlin. No one is born knowing how to interview. There is a muscle in your brain that you can exercise and just to get comfortable and confident. And the more you do it, and you should be doing it over Zoom because most, at least first interviews are being done over Zoom or meetings or some virtual method. You've got to be practicing with somebody that you trust so that they can ask you the tough questions and you can respond and not get floored. So that it becomes as easy as saying your name and you don't get flustered each time. But that's, you got to exercise and you've got to practice. And that's the one answer. And I think Christine, you wrote that in the chat, right? Anyone
What did
else?
Another,
Yeah.
another thing, Mindy, is that I think what Nina should also do is, I've used this in a different situation, encouraging somebody that had a body issue to be able to go to your washroom and speak looking at yourself directly. Don't take your eyes off. You just have to speak, leave yourself. Actually, sometimes tape yourself and just see that, because as what Mindy is saying, you have to practice this, right? Because it's not easy. Like, I talk to thousands of people, but I tell you, sometimes there are certain presentations I'm doing, and I'm almost like hyperventilating before that. I don't know whether it's excitement or excited and so on, but then it takes me breathing, and then I just go back into it. Once the first minute passes, I'm back to my normal self. So, but I think what you end up doing is practicing. Like when I have a big presentation to make that is really so important, I actually tape myself, just to I prepare for the first minute. That's the only thing I do in my presentation, is that first delivery. So once I've mastered it, everything is ordered. But you can do that by looking at yourself in the mirror.
Hey, Mindy, there's a lot of good questions and comments coming in. I don't have a hard stop at 11 Central Time. You may, or some may, but I think there's a lot of questions and good content. One thing, Nina, that I have to say that Mindy helped me with, one time I didn't get a job, well, many times I didn't get a job. And in the first 5 minutes, I didn't answer a question well. Mindy, you remember and I remember Mindy telling me it was kind of tough love, but in those first 5 minutes, if you don't come across strong, it's over. So I think those first 5 minutes are probably the best for you. And if you're getting nervous before, I think everyone's saying to practice. There's all kinds of resources, role play with a friend, role play with one of us. I mean, Kelly Mondesire and I've role played on the phone, and like seeing your background, we can't see your face right now, but Modi, I mean, that's when Kelly, and I'm not picture perfect like some of you are today. Mindy has a great background, but that whole presence on Zoom is very different than face to face. The chemistry is different.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jude, did you want to chime in here? Because I know Jude has some expertise in this area as well.
I wanted to talk about the ageism thing.
Okay.
And so just a couple things that I'd like to add is, number one, make sure you've got all those top tech skills that employers are looking for on your resume. And number two, go out and buy yourself a nice new outfit, a brand new outfit that's look like today. Get your haircut. I've done it and it's helped me in the past, and anything that we can do to help get over that ageism is something that we need to do. And that really does boost your confidence as well. When you've got that outfit that you feel like $1 million in, and you've got, a hairstyle that, makes you look 10 years younger, that with the no dates in your resume and being current with tech is a win-win, I think.
Thank you, Jude. I'm just looking at some of the chat. Stella has a really good point. Stella, do you want to unmute yourself and speak about it, or would you prefer that I talk to everyone about this?
Hi, which point? I think I made
I love the point about having examples for each typical question. Can you talk about a little bit about that?
Yes, because I have done interviewing in the past, and I've obviously been interviewed a lot, not lately though. I have a packet, it's probably 15 pages long, of typical interview questions that I've been asked, that I've asked, and that I found online. They're both your straightforward interview questions, and they're also the behavioral. And what I do is I go through them and I actually answer the questions on paper so that I have them down and I can not necessarily even just memorize them, but just remember, oh, so when they ask me, tell me about the time that you persuaded somebody, I can talk about the homeowners meeting, or tell me about the time you didn't get your point across. Well, I can talk about the time I designed a newsletter and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And I find that really helpful. And then if I have an interview that I really want to tailor it to, I have my little notebook and I sort of will whittle it down. So I don't have like 5 billion questions. I'll sort of whittle down the examples that I'm pretty sure they're going to ask me about. And it's a great way because now you've got it in your head and you're not searching for an example. You've written it down. And sometimes I even have the same questions more than once because I take the interview questions from different sources. So the answers, the stories are in there more than once. So they're definitely sticking with me.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Stella. That's 100%. I'm on board 100% what you just said. Practice, practice, practice. And if it takes writing it, you know, everyone has a different style, but if you like to write and write things out, it helps you to remember it. We have time for one more question, and that is from Sue Griffey. I just want to give her a chance, Modi, if you don't mind, and then we'll give you a chance to wrap it up. Sue, did you have one more question?
I have no question. I was going to add on, so go ahead and get to other questions.
No, go ahead. That was it. You're the only one with a hand up.
I just wanted to add on to what Stella had written, and it's come from my recent experience. I've been taking a magnetic messaging course, and stuff I thought I knew really well, I couldn't blurt out. So to reduce that, in addition to the writing Stella's talking about, which helps us all get it into our brain, I summarized some key points for the interview. Thank you, Mindy, that I was on. And I posted them around the monitor, around it, just on the side, just a few words of each. And that may be the next step. I see Stella nodding to get
Post-it notes.
those of you that feel like deer in a headlight. Look, it's there. And actually, I didn't look at a lot of them, but they were there. And it was like, you know, no one could see it except me and the picture I took of it.
It's a security
but think
blanket.
about it. Because the mind, getting stuff in our mind's important, but the mind-hand connection, that's why taking notes, those of us who are old like me, grew up taking notes, really helps you get it in your brain. I would also choose no more than 5 stories that summarize key evidence-based results that you can talk about. So don't try to overload yourself. And I think Stella said something about using same story for different questions.
Right.
So
and I have like 2 stories per, because I have a story that's more corporate for an executive assistant position. And then I have a story that's from my nonprofit days. And so this way, it depends on the job, which story I'm going to bring into it.
That's great. Great, Stella. Thank you. And thank you, Sue Griffey. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Any last words? Christine, I'll start with you. Oh, Darren said he had to go. Darren, you want to say any final words to the group? No, you're good.
You sent them.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much, Darren, for your time today. We really appreciate you. And thanks for all you do for us. Appreciate it. All right, Christine.
Just to remind people, like the 3 dots, you can download this chat so you keep it. If you hit the 3 dots and you can say save chat, and then that way everyone can save it. And then Mindy, just real quick, the one thing that you helped us, that phone app, I can't remember the name of it, where you can take your LinkedIn picture and have people vote on it. That's a really good tip for people.
Right.
I don't remember the name of it though, Mindy. Sorry.
Photo feeler. I'll put it into the chat.
I'm waiting for my results.
So cool.
Nervous.
Cool, right?
Can I just say one quick thing? Or I'm sorry, Christine, are you still talking?
No, Joan said she doesn't have the dots on the phone, but Joan, Mindy will have it saved. So we can always post it in the LinkedIn accelerators. Absolutely.
Go ahead, Stella, did you have something else?
Yes, as it pertains to what April was speaking about with the pivot, I have a pretty extensive background in fundraising, but there's a 6-year gap. So to employers, I have no background in fundraising as far as they're concerned. And so what I'm doing to bridge that gap, I am also looking for executive assistant positions because I have equal amount of experience with that. But what I'm doing to bridge the gap is I took a beginner's fundraising course that I practically could have taught, but I took it and I have a little certificate now. I enrolled in a certificate program for nonprofit management at a local university. I'm taking a Razor's Edge class this afternoon so I can get these on. I'm teaching myself Asana. So I've started scheduling my whole life in Asana because I know everybody's using Asana. I took a freshen up class on G Drive. I'm trying to learn Slack. I don't have anybody that wants to play with me on it though. So I just have it on my phone. It's just sitting there sadly. But what I'm trying to do is just, make myself seem fresh and relevant. And, and in my cover letter, I'm saying, I'm taking this nonprofit class, and I'm not saying to brush up on my skills, but I'm saying to further strength. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was just to further my skills, because you don't want to remind them that you don't have experience or that it's been a while. You want to focus on the positive part.
Yeah.
Very smart, Stella. Very smart. You have a good idea. Make sure that when you get those certifications, you put them right onto LinkedIn.
Yep.
Right? So that it's very visible, and the word relevant is so super important. You want to be relevant and flexible. Those are two main things with the job search. You got to be flexible with everything that everyone said today. You've got to be flexible so you can keep looking at different things. You've got to be positive, like Modi has exuded that positivity, and flexible, positive, and remain relevant. And if that takes taking courses, LinkedIn has thousands of courses that you can take for sure. And they're all over the internet. So definitely do that to help you stay in the game.
I want your resume, Stella. I just linked into you. I might need some help.
Oh, okay.
And Stella, I think Dorothea offered to help you with Slack.
Oh, yay. Somebody to play with.
She said she'll play with you on Slack.
I just pivoted to back into nonprofit. I haven't even updated my LinkedIn or put out my, hey, post. I just started applying yesterday, but what happened was I was told by somebody or a few people, they said, your love is asking people for money. You are a good fundraiser. Your background is in nonprofits. That's what I live for. And Jude mentioned about volunteer work. I was president of a local Audubon chapter for 10 years, and I ran it as if it were a staffed organization because I wanted that experience. And I currently volunteer for a nonprofit wildlife filmmaker, and I'm doing prospecting and identifying funders for him. So that's something else that was a good idea with regards to the volunteer work, because that's transferable skills. I've run a nonprofit, so I wasn't paid for it, but, I'm trying to highlight that. And on my resumes that are nonprofit focused, that is not in my volunteer section, that is in my job section. On executive assistant positions, it's in my volunteer, and it's really whittled down because they don't care.
Hey, Stella, definitely connect with Christine. She's a good person to know and very big in the nonprofit area, okay?
Okay, great.
I want to thank everyone for being here today. This was an amazing, amazing call. We are having another one, giving you an opportunity to talk to even more of our alumni. I think this is just perfect. I'm so proud and thrilled that you all joined us today. The link should be in the chat to join our next call, which is August 3rd. And we hope to see you all there. And Stella.
Oh, I'm having surgery on August 2nd. I'll be in the hospital.
Okay, so we'll just we'll move the call.
I'll be in for 3 days.
All right. Well, we'll record it for you. I thank you all for being here. I'm going to stop the recording now.